Make Future 2022 with us, Sia Bulela Mandela. Welcome back.
Thank you, brother. It's a privilege and an honor to be back at We Make Future 2022.
It's our pleasure. So, We Make Future. How do you want to make the future? How and why?
Well, I think as one thinks about that question, and I was speaking at the main stage exactly about that question and thinking on how do we make future and what kind of future do we want to make. We know we're living in a world that is polarized, divided along racial lines. We know we live in a world where racism, where discrimination, where injustices are the things that confront us today, be it in Africa, be it in Europe, be it in the West or in Asia. We live in the world where we are not at peace with one another. We live in the world, for instance, where there is a conflict between Ukraine and Russia, where there is a conflict in Syria, where there's a conflict in Afghanistan, where there's a conflict in different parts of the African continent and the Middle East. How do we then define our future within that context? And this is how I define that future. Our forefathers and foremothers fought for justice. They fought for freedom. They fought for human rights. They fought in defense of all these ideals that today, as this generation, we have a responsibility to defend them. And secondly, we have a collective responsibility to build upon that foundation that these forebears have laid for us as we imagine, as we envision how our future would look like and the future of the generations yet to come. So this is how I think we make future. This is how, when we engage with innovative ideas and innovative technology, we must begin to think, how do we want to adopt and use that technology, that innovation, to prepare, to define the future that we want for ourselves and the generations yet to come. That is how we make the future. And that is why today we are here to speak about the ideas that we speak about in defense of the ideals that our forefathers and foremothers stood for, and engage in dialogue. And how do we defend these ideals, and how do we build upon that foundation as we define our future and the future of generations yet to come within the context of what is happening in the global community.
You travel a lot, so can you explain us what's your job? What do you do around the world, traveling, meeting people?
Well, first and foremost, I am a peace and a human rights activist. For me, this is part and parcel of the continuation of the legacy of the Mandela family. We are people that stand for peace. We are people that stand for unity, for justice, and for human rights. So within the context of being a peace and a human rights activist, these are the issues that I am active about. These are the issues that I advocate for on different parts of the world that I work in. And also I work for Journalists for Human Rights, which is a media development organization working in an intersection between human rights advocacy and media development. The role that media can play in driving the change that we want to see within our community. Oftentimes working in conflict zones, South Sudan, in the Middle East, in North Africa, and different parts where human rights violations are on the rise. So these are, for me, this is the kind of the work that is of critical importance in defending the freedoms and liberties that we are enjoying today. The human rights that we have are the human rights that the past generations fought for, and it's part and parcel of defending that and advocating for that. In spaces where people are not free, this is the work that we do. In spaces such as We Make Future, for instance, the ideas that we speak about on stage as we engage the audience, these are the ideas that we want our people here in Europe and in different parts of the world to begin to think about, to begin to engage in dialogue about as we are defining our future. So this is the kind of work that I'm doing here, is the kind of work that I'm doing in different parts of the world through advocacy.
What is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world?
Well, I think Nelson Mandela said it very quite clearly and simple, that education is the most powerful weapon and the tool that we can use to change the world. You know, even Horace Mann said, education, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the greatest equalizer of the condition of man. If we want to bring about equality, if we want to bring about justice, if we want to defend and to advocate for human rights, then education is of critical importance. If we educate our people, if we invest in education, if we invest in entrepreneurship, in innovation, and invest in these ideas, this is how we are going to be able to bring about the change that we need here in Europe, in Africa, in the West, and in Asia, in different parts of the world, in all corners of the world. Then education is the most important tool that we can use as individuals to bring about the change in the world. Guns are not going to bring about the change. War is not going to bring the change. But if people are educated, if we change the ideas, if we engage in a battle of ideas, if we use education as a tool to bring about change, then there's so much that we can achieve as the world. But if we deprive people of progressive ideas, if we are deprive people of tools such as education, then we are denying them of a right towards freedom, towards justice. We're denying them a right towards full access to human rights. You cannot participate in any economy of the country without education. You cannot develop without education. The innovative ideas that are showcased here at We Make Future, they come true because people have studied, they've invested in education, and they've robustly engaged with different ideas to make their innovations that they are presenting here through We Make Future to be more accessible to people. It is through education that it is possible. So that's the most important tool, as Mandela said it.
The keyword education, and we are going to work on it.
Definitely.
Thank you, Siyabulela. Thank you for being here, and see you next year, maybe.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm always happy to support, and I'm always happy here. It's more like home now.
Thank you, and have a good festival.
Thank you. And let's make future together.